Okay, lots to get through to today on BWTM Sports. Thanks for joining us. We'll be talking Josh Warrington and Lee Wood. We'll be talking the Misfits. We'll be talking about BUATSI. We'll be talking about Wardley and ADEYELE. Stay right there. We'll be right back. There's lots to get through, and I hope that some of you can join us along the way. See you soon. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. Glad you could join us. So let's talk about, there's a lot to talk about. First of all, let's talk about Warrington versus Wood. That fight, for me, I just thought to myself in that fight that it's only a matter of time before Lee Wood catches Josh Warrington, because Josh Warrington fights the same way in all his fights. Yeah, I know he tucks up and he comes forward, but for the most part, when Josh Warrington engages, he leaves himself exposed. He's like winging shots, and that works. That works at a certain level against certain opponents. But as you get older, you're not as fast as you used to be. Your reflexes are not as good as they used to be, and so therefore, this when you open yourself up like that, as you're a little older, your reflexes are a little slower. Plus, you've been stopped now, and the fact that, you know, you've suffered a few losses in your career now. And I did tell people about Josh Warrington. I said the minute Josh Warrington leaves Frank Warren and he goes to Eddie Hearn, he'll get himself knocked out. Wait and see. I said it weren't too long before he's overmatched and got knocked out. Did it not happen? It happened. You know, so, and yeah, Josh has come back and won the world title. And he's got beat up again. I mean, you know, so whilst Warrington was having good success against Lee Wood, it was only a matter of time before Lee Wood was going to connect. And when he connected, you saw what was going to happen. And I don't know why everyone's coming for a rematch. It's because the thing Warrington was doing, he was disrupting Lee Wood's efforts. So he was getting close. He's throwing punches, who's been rough. And when you box a guy like that, who's constantly on you all the time, on you, and you're used to having your space and your time to throw long shots. And a lot of the shots were, when Lee Wood was throwing them, was going over Warrington's shoulders or going on top of it, on sliding past his head. So I was thinking, okay, all right. It's only a matter of time before he catches you. And it's only a matter of time before you open yourself up recklessly to get hit. And boxing is about, for me, it's about percentages. It's about, well, how much of a percentage can I land my blows without me getting inflicting damage myself? A lot of these guys think, well, I land, if I can land one of mine and take three of his, it's all right. But if one of his, like if you're fighting a guy that hasn't got punching power, a guy who hasn't got a long reach, when a guy's got a long reach and you're at the end of that punch, obviously, and you're walking into that shot, that's even more damaging. So it was only a matter of time. Lee Wood was a puncher, as we knew already. Good boxing skills. And then you're rushing in and he hits you at the tip of your chin as you're coming in, crunch, and you fall over. It was bound to happen. I think if Warrington was younger, maybe he would have got on top of Lee Wood, and maybe have got a unanimous point decision, or even stop Lee Wood late. Younger Warrington, maybe the Josh Warrington that fought Carl Frampton, maybe. But this Josh Warrington, no. It was not going to happen. Don't tell me it's a 50-50 fight. When you tell people it's a 50-50 fight, when you damn well know it's not a 50-50 fight. You saw Warrington's last performance, you saw Lee Wood's last performance, and you tell me it's a 50-50 fight. You know, and you say, oh, well, Josh Warrington's got the better resume. Yeah, he may have had the better resume back then, but now he's a washed up, beaten fighter. As far as I'm concerned, he's not the Warrington that was unbeaten. And you can't, there's different momentums. And boxing is about momentums. You've got one guy who's on the up and moving up with his confidence. Obviously, he got knocked out. He came back. He got a good win. Do you understand? He also had the Michael Condon win as well. So his career is like this. And Woods he's like, you know, okay, I got caught with a shot I shouldn't have got caught with in the rematch. He righted the wrong. But Warrington's different. So I was never bought into all that. Oh, he's 50-50. It's lazy. It's lazy journalism and it's lazy media work. It says Tommy Fury's complete garbage. He didn't deserve, KSI didn't deserve to win, neither did Tommy. Tommy trained all his life and couldn't do any damage in 6 rounds and versus KFI. Says here, that said it was more competitive. It says 99% of female fights are more competitive than most of my Campbell Hatton's fights. Goes on to say, Lee Wood, very lucky. How many times can you pull it out of the bag? Ben Davison getting a lot of credit for fights. Wood has looked poor in for a majority of them. Okay, right. So I don't think Wood pulled that out of the bag. I didn't think he pulled out of the bag because as far as I'm concerned, that was going to happen. It was just a matter of time of how it was going to happen. Warrington, when he had all his energy, was on top and doing well. But you know Warrington is going to leave himself open. You know Warrington's going to come winging in. You know Warrington's going to leave his chin in the air at some point. And you know that what Wood being a nice, cute counter puncher is going to catch him at some point. So I don't call that luck. I don't call a guy who can box on the front foot, box at the back foot, can counter punch. He's pretty slick, and he's a puncher. I don't call that luck. I call that technical skill. Yeah, because you're not actually giving the fighter credit for what he actually does. I said a long time ago, I thought Lee Wood was a very good fighter and very underrated. People disrespected it and said, nah, Lee Wood ain't all that. Lee Wood's a good fighter. Lee Wood's a damn good fighter. I really think it is. He's got good heart. You know, he's got good. I think he's got a good chin. I think he's a good boxer puncher. And he showed, even though it was not going in his way, because the type of style that Warrington is. That's why I say style make fights. Because Warrington's style is one that crowds you, doesn't allow you to get into any rhythm. Lee Wood is better when he can stand off, use a jab, get his range, use the box, you know, slide off to the left, slide off to the right, dig punches in, take time to land good shots. That's Lee Wood when he can set his own tempo. But what I call Warrington, his style is very much of a disruptive style. It's a disruptive style, but with that disruptive style comes danger. And like I said, if Warrington was younger, yeah, I think he probably would have beaten Lee Wood, but not with that momentum Lee Wood's got. No. So I don't see that as being a lucky. There's no luck involved as far as I'm concerned. He goes, Wood's a good fighter, but I don't think he took all that punishment was part of the plan. He was able to find the punch late versus Warrington after taking a beating. Well, yeah, he took a lot of punishment. And at some point in boxing, you're going to be in a situation where you're going to have to come from behind. This is world-class boxing. I'm not so sure how good Ben Davison is. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Yeah, because I'm not so sure. So I'm not so sure. He might have been in the right place at the right time, saying the right things. But ultimately, when you look at his fighters, what are they delivering? He might just be a guy with opportunity. I don't know. Not for me to say. But, you know, from what I'm seeing of Ben Davison, I think he talks very well when interviewed. I think that he seems to say the right things when people are watching him. I'm not so sure what he's doing behind closed doors with his fighters. Could Lee Wood have boxed any differently against Warrington? Don't know. I don't know. What I do know is what we were presented with at the time. And yes, that's because Warrington himself is a good fighter. Warrington is a damn good fighter, and he fights at a pace which is uncomfortable, and he's going to give a lot of guys a lot of problems until the later half of the fight, where he slows down a tad, and then, you know, for all the work Warrington did, Warrington's never been known as a puncher. That has always been Warrington's like weakness for me. So I don't know. Anyway, congratulations, Lee Wood. Next time the beating could be worse. It could take longer. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think Warrington can improve. This time, I think Wood will stop Warrington faster, because this time Wood knows a lot of my punches. So the adjustments Wood would make is like, okay, you know, a punch was sliding over his head, so I may have to. The way I'm delivering my shot is one which is, I've got now the trajectory where I'm throwing my shots are sliding over the top. Again, I think that might be done to the pad work and the type of training that Wood was doing for Warrington. And I don't think they really studied Warrington. Wood didn't study Warrington's style. So in the rematch this time round, I know what Warrington's going to bring. Warrington can't change his style. That's how Warrington fights. Whereas Wood can adjust his style. He can lower weights. I'm going to get this guy in the position, position to hit more regularly with that right hand. So I think adjustments can be made there with such. So yeah, I don't. Then very few rematches where they're going to where guys really knocked a guy out, where the guy comes back. Few fights where people come back and they do better. I don't think Warrington can make the adjustments. Whereas when Lara, was it Lara, whoever it was that knocked Wood out, Wood was doing well in the fight. So he made the adjustment and finished the fight off in the rematch. So I don't think it'd be worse. Wood would need to fight in his natural stance, LOA. He was getting hit with the overhand right too, often in the southpaw stance. Yeah, but those are adjustments that can be made. So those adjustments that can be made in the gym. The Warrington cannot adjust his style because that's the way he fights. You know, not as much. He doesn't look like he always fights with his face, but when he's defensively irresponsible when he puts punches together. That's what I think. Warrington's always been like that because he's always been the big guy. Warrington's always been the big guy. He's been able to walk through and bully guys. But now when you reach a guy who's just as big and just as strong and can hurt you, it's a different matter altogether. So I don't see much hope for Warrington in a rematch. If he was going to do his best, it was that fight. So, yeah, it's adjustments that Wood would make. And I believe Wood would knock Warrington out this time inside 6 because Warrington's not going to change. He's not going to be any better at that age, at that weight division. Wood knocks him out earlier. All right, let's move on. Don't know where I'm going with this one because there's a trend in boxing. Yeah, there is a trend in boxing now. I remember when Michael Hunter lost his contract with DOESNT. I said, this is the beginning of a new era. He said, what do you mean? I said, at that time, that boxers that have gloves and will fight are going to be pushed to the side. And if you're not engaging with social media, if you're not engaging with if you're not doing the work engaging, then what will happen is you get pushed to the side because you've got to not just be able to fight and have an exciting style. You've got to have people watching you. You've got to put bums on seats. It's not just about you rolling up and fighting. You have to be able to do more than that now. You have to be marketable. And that's a problem. You know, since Hunter's left the zone and Eddie Hearn, and before the Povetkin fight, Hunter was like, you know, in the top 5 of the world. What happened? Did his skill set move? No. So you have to be able to sell. And if you can't sell with your mouth, and you can't speak up, and you can't hype up, because that's what's happening today in boxing. Hence why Misfits is where it is today. That's why Misfits is where it is today. You now have a world, and it's going to get worse. You have a world which reflects society today. The people do what they want, when they like, how they feel. Not really caring that rule and regulation. And people can just be as perverse and it's disgusting, and it's foul mouth. And yeah, Misfits. It is a broadcaster that is, I mean, I couldn't believe it when I was listening to people talking like, oh yeah, I'm bringing my kids to watch this person. I'm bringing my kids to watch this person. I'm thinking, yeah, but if that child's been watching that person's performances with all the swearing and all the profanity and all the behavior, these people are not really role models as such. I wouldn't say they're role models. They're influencers, but what are they influencing our kids to be? And like, what is the future? So like KSI versus Tommy Fury and John Fury. I do want to make a point about this. Yeah, I've met John Fury, and you know, the guy that I met is not the guy that's on TV. And if you listen to John Fury, he is selling fights. He's actually selling the fight by all that Hulk Hogan sort of behavior. I wouldn't say Hulk Hogan, but that sort of rowdy behavior. He is the focal point. No matter what is going on in the boxing world or the Misfits, he's the focal point. What did John Fury say? What did John Fury do? What has he done this time? John Fury hits this. John Fury does that. John Fury's not in boxing no more. John Fury's not even boxing for. John Fury's retired how many years ago? Every event he seems to go to gets entertainment. And people will say, let's have more of it. So you just wonder with this John Fury story where it's going to end up, because they're pushing the narrative. And at the end of the fight, he's, oh, you know, I'm sorry, you know, I apologize, you know, it's only a bit of selling the fight. But where does it end? Where does this end? Where does it end? Where is this Misfits and this boxing going to end? People throwing bottles at one another, people getting injured, ADEYELE and Wardley scrapping on a big event. Where does it end? Situation happened in Ireland where shots were fired. Where does it end? Where does it end? And even in the sport itself, where does it end? The law is for the lawless, but where does it all end? When is enough going to be enough? Does there have to be a fatality for enough to be enough? Or do we just turn a blind eye to fatality and it's business as usual? Because the way I see things going with John Fury, and they're pushing him to it, because I remember a time when Tyson Fury, I had that interview with Tyson. I was the only media outlet at the time when Tyson Fury and I spoke. And he muzzled his mouth up the day he went to a press conference. I don't know if you'll remember that. I think it might have been to announce the second Klitschko fight. His mouth was muzzled up. He said, well, it was my promoter that told me to flip the table. That's what Tyson said. I've got it on recording. It was my report. It was my promoter that told me to flip the table to make it more interesting. And then remember when Tyson had to pay? Back in the day, he was paying all them fines. What happened to all of that? What happened to all that fine paying? So my point is, a lot of what's going on here is backstage with the promoter or promotions. I mean, that stuff with David Hay and John Fury, it made for watchable TV. Like, think about it seriously. I was sitting back today watching Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield, their first fight. I remember watching that fight live. I was a huge Holyfield fan, and I was thankful and grateful to being able to do an interview on BWTM Sports live with the real deal Evander Holyfield. And you know his boxing game, he only put his name to it, but he had really no interest in the game itself. That's a little fact for you as well. But anyway, Evander Holyfield also had, at that time, he was Edgar Berlanga was one of his fighters. How I got to meet Edgar Berlanga as well. Anyway, coming back to what I'm saying, Holyfield versus Bowe. If you look at the pre-fight press conference, there was no shenanigans, and it was one of the greatest fights. Gatti versus Ward, everyone talks about. Didn't need all the shenanigans. Didn't need all that over the top talking. Too much talk. Too much talk. And when it comes down to it, the fights are not good because the fighters today haven't got the ability to deliver because the trainers are not that good. I mean, though, we've got to call it for what it is. And KSI versus Tommy Fury. I want you all to go back. I was watching KSI versus Logan Paul in America. KSI looked better when he fought Logan Paul than when he fought Tommy Fury. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I didn't saw this bouncing up and down crap. Oh, what's this? What's that? Because I was always taught in boxing, if what goes up must come down. I remember once I was sparring and I remember watching Nazim Hamid. I used to use the corkscrew uppercut. He used to call it a rocket launcher. I thought, I'm going to go to the gym and do that. Worst mistake ever. Listen, my ears are still ringing to this day. So what I did, I was lining the guy up. And then I went, zoom. And I left the floor. And I missed the guy. Inches, missed the guy. And as I landed, what goes up must come down. And as I missed him, I went, oh shit. And as I landed, the guy just waited and went, crack. It's okay. I took it, but my ears are still ringing. My ears are still ringing. I can't know what my point is now. But like that's what it is. When you're bouncing up and down, you can be timed. If you're a good boxer, you can be timed. As he's going up, you know he's going to come down. And when you're going up like that, you can't defend yourself. And you're up like that because your hands are in the air. You can't defend yourself. So you just wait. Okay, bouncing, jab, time him with the jab, time him with the jab. And as he's landing, crack. Right hand, left hook combination, right hand. Can't defend himself. I mean, how much tape have you watched of KSI to know that he's going to be bouncing up and down like this? He's there. He's right there to be nailed. Proper hard. He boxed better when he fought Logan Paul. So I'm understanding where's all this crap come from? But anyway, it works for him, and who am I to criticize? He's making money from it. But Tommy Fury, let me tell you something now. Truth, God's honest truth. You know, they could never give KSI that victory. That fight, right? For me, KSI landed the cleaner, harder shots. Like right hands were bouncing off of Tommy Fury's chin. And as far as I'm concerned, in terms of punches landed, I know they said that Tommy Fury was the bigger guy. And the reason why he was holding KSI was because he was trying to lean his weight onto KSI so KSI would tire. Much like when Klitschko fought David Haye. A skill set. You just hug. So Lennox Lewis, you watch Lennox Lewis in fights, he literally would hug you and lean on your back. When you lean on someone's back, you sap the energy from their legs. So that's a way of tiring a guy out, constantly getting up close, tying them up, holding them up, leaning on them, putting your weight down on them. Every time you're in a clinch, fight with them. So they're constantly wasting energy doing that. That's what Tommy Fury is doing. So when people talk about the hug and the hold, and there was too much holding, it wasn't KSI that was helping. That was Tommy Fury's strategy. And for those people who supposedly know boxing, should know better than to say they were both hugging. That was strategy. That was to sap the energy out of KSI, stop the bouncing. So it stopped the bouncing, stop all the movement, tire him out. So round 5 and 6, I can get to him now and land the shots. But Tommy Fury, no disrespect to him, isn't good enough to do that. Mark, bearing in mind, I did the interview with, what's this guy's name? Anthony Pretty Boy. I did the interview with Pretty Boy before he fought Tommy Fury. I did an interview here on BWTM Splits. Go back and look at it. And Tommy Fury, this guy had come from what? Welterweight? And Tommy Fury can put him away. So how the hell is he going to put KSI away? I don't understand it. Tommy Fury's poor performance was saved by the judges. Mark my words, it was saved by the judges. If a misfit fighter beats a boxer, it is over for boxing. Why do I say this? Boxing for many years has not had that many competitors to it. It's just been boxing. So what's going on now? You've got Misfits. Misfits has got a great production team. You know, it's excitement. It's fun. Nobody's talking about, well, it's the end of the road. He needs to retire. None of that rubbish. Nobody's talking about that. Everyone's having fun and enjoying themselves and doing basically what the hell they want. Whereas boxing now, you've got commentators talk about it's the end of the road. He needs to retire. You know, this fighter now, you know, he's British level now. You've got ex-fighters talking nonsense about ex-fighters or current fighters. You know, and they're not helping the sport all. They're not helping the sport grow. Just like when you've got these fighters, you know, you'll never hear the UFC. UFC is going to say a guy can have 10 defeats and he'll still be fighting and people still rate him. But this boxing world, unless they change the format of it, unless they change the format of boxing in terms of its production, in terms of the people that are talking in boxing, and they have to gut the journalism in boxing, they really do, because the media are doing no favors. The media are asking nice questions to promoters, and you know, promoters got them in the back of the hand. It's all very pally-wally. And what you've got now is that every week it's about this promotion not liking this promotion. This promoter said this and that promoter said that. Like in the playground, you go to one guy said, "Oh, he said this about your mum," and then the other one goes, "Yeah, he said that about your mum," and then the two people are arguing, and you can see what's going on with the various guys asking the questions. Just look again. Look at even the TNT promotion between Adelaide and Wardley. Oh, Adelaide said this about you. Oh, Wardley said that about you. I was like, it's like school kid stuff. That is where we've got to now in boxing. That is where we've got to in boxing. That is where we've got to. It's not even the case of, you know, what are your thoughts of what Evander said about your boxing ability and this and that, or, you know, we're not talking about the substance of boxing ability no more. We're talking about I can't give a damn what promoter thinks about the other. The promoters are not fighting, and too much energy is being given to these promoters who are not putting their lives on the line, who are getting money from fighters, but it's not about the promoters. It's about the fight. It's nonsense, absolute nonsense. I can't watch it. So let me give you another insight here. Let me give you a BWTM Sports Gold here. For those of you who want to know a little bit more about David Adelaide, I met David Adelaide years ago when I was watching Hughie Fury prepared to fight for the British title against Sam Sexton. I was invited into camp by Peter Fury. Peter, if you're watching, God bless you, sir. It's good to see your stuff. And you are what's right about boxing. You know, we need more people like you in boxing talking about the sport. When I mean about you being in boxing, I'm not talking about what you're doing in boxing, but your voice needs to be heard more, because a lot of the stuff you're saying is the truth. So shout out to Peter Fury and the family. Yes, I was invited. So I met Savannah Marshall. Obviously it was Hughie Fury, and a few others were there. And David Adelaide actually coming to get sparring with Hughie Fury. So check it out. It's something, I can't remember the name. It's not a home with the Furies. I think it might be in camp with the Furies. And it was a 2-part. Check it out. I think that was when BWTN Sports was on fire. And you'll hear sit down with Peter Fury, Hughie Fury, and David Adelaide coming into camp, training with him. Really nice dude. The dude that I'm seeing on TV is not the dude that I remember. So shout out to David Adelaide. How I think that fight goes, Adelaide's had a good amateur career. He's had good, I know he had good sparring. I just don't know if he's ready for Wardley because I've not seen him fight anybody. And the Sokolowski fight was one that, you know, I don't know. So I don't know if Adelaide's confidence, I don't know if he's biting off more than he can chew. I've always thought Adelaide reminded me of Audley Harrison, and I went to college with Audley, so I can speak on that. Adelaide has got that like Marmite thing about him, whether you're either going to like him or you either love him or you hate him. He's one of them ones. So Adelaide, I don't know. I know what Wardley is, and Wardley reminds me of Big Baby Anderson. I said that already. If you hit Big Baby Anderson and you hit Wardley, they're guys that are reactive. When you hit them, they let their shots go. I hope in this fight, though, that Wardley lets his hands go early. I like Fabio Wardley. I really like him as a fighter because if you listen to him talk, very intelligent fighter. He's a guy that knows where he's at, who he is, and what he needs to do to improve. He's honest. And I like that in boxers. That they're not just talking the same old rubbish. That they sit there and say, yeah, you know, I do this and I really shouldn't be doing this and I need to improve on this. So if he's talking that way, you can be guaranteed that he's making those adjustments. So I expect to see the adjustments. I hope that Adelaide turning up to the press conference and again the confrontation, I hope that sort of bully boy mentality is not getting into the mindset of Wardley. And he's talking about, oh yeah, I'm fine, I'm cool, it doesn't bother me. But maybe behind closed doors, it really is bothering him and it really is a problem for him. And he's scared of Adelaide. I don't know. Because I've seen situations like that before where guys talking all this stuff now and then come fight night, they freeze because the guy outside the ring has become a boogeyman. And they don't look at him as another opponent. They look at him as a boogeyman. So they freeze on the night. And that would allow Adelaide to get into positions and to land punches and to be effective. I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not what I'm seeing here because I expect actually Wardley to win the fight by knockout. But remember what I said. All these appearances from these surprise appearances from David Adelaide, they turned up and he said, oh yeah, I'm ready for you. I'll fight you, blah, 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 blah. And he disappeared and he come back again. And they all kicked off. He said, I got no problem with Wardley. I just had a problem with his team being nice and I matched the energy and all that stuff. All that stuff, is that intimidating Wardley? Is he easily intimidated? Does he like having the X on his back? He might talk about it and he sounds good. But a guy that thinks, does he think too much? So I don't know. All that there, I don't know. It's all a question mark. BUATSI versus AZEEZ. Way I looked at it, them two men didn't want to fight one another. They did not want to fight one another. They were forced to fight one another, but they did not want to fight one another. That's what I feel. Back injury, week of the fight. Okay, bro. Okay, tells me, was ticket selling well? Don't know. That to me, that was going to end Joshua BUATSI, the hype around Joshua BUATSI. I don't rate Joshua BUATSI. I've said it 1,001 times. I think he's regressed as a fighter. And the sort of style that Dan Azeez has of constant pressure and up close and personal is a sort of style that this current form of Joshua BUATSI, it would be a nightmare against. I was actually backing Azeez to stop BUATSI. I really was. Because the Craig Richards fight, when a lot of people said, oh, Craig Richards, BUATSI will blow him out of there. I said, don't be surprised if Craig Richards puts it on BUATSI and starts to hurt BUATSI, which he did. And that became a life and death struggle. I don't know where people get this. He's one of the best light heavyweights in the world. I don't get it. Because I actually think, honestly speaking, I actually think that Anthony Yarde beats Joshua BUATSI because I think Joshua BUATSI cannot block a right hand. He has not a way to stop that right hand. And Yarde throws a pretty decent right hand. So it's just the in-betweens for BUATSI. If BUATSI beats Yarde, it's the in-betweens. It's when Yarde is not throwing punches and looking at himself. But if he can be active for 3 minutes of each round, he can stop BUATSI and stop him early as well. So let's see what's going on here. So, yes, John Smith, how we doing? Hope that you're well. Yes, this Mr. Rudenko makes a good point here. No OnlyFans people should be promoted. No OnlyFans people should be promoted as almost. That's another thing. This OnlyFans. I mean, kids are gonna ask, what's OnlyFans? Anyway, it's what people. Shane, how you doing, my brother? I hope to see you well. Can you bring his name up, Shane? I hate StreamYard. How are you doing, Shane? Good to see you in the room. Michael Thomas, Circus Boxing, Sunday Market, DAZN Boxing, £20 rubbish. They're not getting. By the way, Ingrid, Ultech has been trying to contact you, brother. Yes. Oh, has he? Didn't know. I didn't know. I haven't got any emails from Ultratech. So, all right. Yeah, I need to make contact with him for sure. Holyfield versus Bowl, classic. Absolutely. Morales, Barrera, yes. Them fights. We never had all this nonsense of people and entourages, all this rubbish talk. Serious. Yeah, PBC and Showtime. I don't know. I don't understand. For me, this PBC thing and Showtime, because to be honest, we've had back to back really good fights this year. Really good fights this year. I don't know if it's the promotional Showtime promotional team there. I don't know if it's that they're not making money, but there are things I'd like to see more. I would like to see more crossover. So like boxers, you know, maybe being parts of different like crossover events, you know, and turning up to different events. I don't know, but boxing I think could have been promoted way better. Wardy looks above British level. I don't think Adelaide has shown his English level yet. BUATSI is one of the best UK talents, very skilled and down to earth man. Is he? Is he very skilled? I don't see, honestly. I don't see. I think he's one of the most overrated fighters in the UK. I swear. I swear down. He's one of the most overrated fighters in the UK. Just what has he done? Like, how long has he been a prospect or where is he a contender? I mean, sorry. I mean, he should not be fighting Dan AZEEZ. Truth be told, he should not be fighting Dan AZEEZ. If you've come out of the Olympics, you should be fighting Dan AZEEZ now. But I don't know. I don't know what you're seeing, bro. Anyway, how's Nigeria? Difficult to ask a question of transitions period, but I would say that the weather's good. I would say you get a lot more freedom out here than you do in the UK. Like I said, the weather's good weather. Yeah, I've got a channel. Which used to be Ikra Dubnas, ECSM. That's my own business company. That's my own company now. ECSM, Exodus, Coaching and Sports Management. So not just cricket, but I'll probably do boxing as well. Start getting into that and promoting that as well. So yeah, Nigeria's cool. It's cool. Girls, I've got a bunch of girls I've been coaching for a while. They're going to be playing in the national organization or national NCF, National Nigerian Cricket Federation, are going to be watching that event. There's an event being hosted, and our girls, 6 girls, are going to be playing in this tournament. Man, it's madness though. So now, for example, funding is a big thing out here, huge thing out here. You know, I'm in an area where it's got 1.5 million, and in that 1.5 million, nobody knew about cricket. So now, out of 1.5 million and no cricket being done over the 2 years, I've now got 10 schools playing cricket. Bearing in mind, there's no funding for cricket. Bearing in mind, there's no equipment for cricket. So kind of that's what I've been doing. And and like they want to talk about reducing crime and increasing participation, which is what I got. Like I was working with the UK government, it was really good, the Home Office, to and they gave us some funding to do some events, which I've been doing, and like doing. So that's what's been going on out here, and that's why you hardly see me online, because I'm basically out, you know, 6-7 days a week with these young people, giving them opportunities, you know. So we've got how many? 500, 600 kids in this academy now for cricket. So yeah, it's building. It's building. Just looking for sponsors, more sponsors now to help. And it doesn't have to. You want sponsorship, you know, because a little money goes a long way out here. So during the time, like I've just last week, I bought 2 bags, kit bags, because nobody was responding. Got 2 kit bags, and that costs 700,000 naira, which works out maybe 800, 750 pounds, 800 pounds, buying cricket equipment. And it's cheaper to do that. It's cheaper to do that than to try and buy equipment from the UK. If I buy any equipment from the UK, straight up, I'm having to pay 250,000 naira for just shipping. You see where I'm at there. You know, there are lots of opportunities in the UK, but I don't know. I was fortunate recently to be invited to see the World Cup Trophy tour, which came to Nigeria, and I met the head of world cricket, Mr. William Glenn Wright, for the second time. It's really great that he was able to acknowledge the work I'm doing in Nigeria, and also acknowledge the fact that I've got my level 3, the level 3 that I've been asking for so long. I finally qualified and got my level 3. So that's great. My future plans, you know, I don't like what I'm seeing in the UK. I'm gonna have to do a show like on what's going on in the UK, because I'm hearing some crazy stuff. I've not been to the UK since the lockdown in 2021. I left in February 2021. Right, my grand passed away 2 years yesterday. So, you know, it's like when I go back, I'll probably be a complete. If I go back, or when I go back, I'll be a complete stranger. The whole systems have changed. So many things have changed in the UK. So I need to kind of like connect with UK brothers and have a conversation, because I'm out here literally by myself, and I don't have that network I once had in the UK. So I really do need to connect with people, and you're constantly looking over your shoulder here, because you don't know if somebody actually is your friend or they want what you've got. Different in the UK, very different in the UK, because if people hear your accent in the UK, oh, you're from London, or you're from Birmingham, you're from Manchester, people are not looking at you because of your accent. Whereas if you're here, people look at you with your accent and stuff. Yeah, so I definitely need to do a show, and I need to get people. I need to contact the people. I know you've been watching the World Cup, Netherlands shock win. It's not a shock win for me. It's not a shock win. Not a shock, because these people are training, and they're dedicating themselves. They're dedicating themselves. And teams like England think that because to their head was the Netherlands to be never a shock. It's expected. Like even when Kenya beat the West Indies back in the day, if you remember that. So it's not a shock. It's not a shock. Remember, a lot of these guys now are not playing cricket just in the Netherlands. You hear the Netherlands, but they're going out and playing cricket around the world in these different events. They're not like the Netherlands and they're just playing cricket in the Netherlands. They're playing cricket around the world, which is it's an illusion. And some of those guys are actually like from the Netherlands. Some of them are maybe not from the Netherlands, but you know, they're living in the country, got a passport. You know what I mean? So Richie's selling the country down the stream. I've heard stuff. I've heard about this. I've heard about the living crisis. And to be honest, you know, I think, first of all, I think about if I'm going back to the UK, like, where am I living? Like where, and I've heard other stories as well. I've heard stories where they want to turn like parts of the UK, where they're going to use parts of the UK where they're going to like section off. So you can only travel 15 minutes out from where you live. Like, and if you go outside the 15-minute area, you can't buy any products outside the area. So your bank cards can only work. You can only buy money within the 15-minute or the 1.5-mile radius of where you live. And those people who've got more money can move more. But those who are poor will stay in one community. That's what I hear they're planning for the UK. Don't like the sound of it. Don't like the sound of it at all. It worries me big time. Some good South African born players switch to the Netherlands teams. There you go. So it's not the Netherlands. You understand? So I'm not surprised. Now you're hearing rumors. We're not Israel yet, not apartheid state. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. But you know, like I say to everybody, if it's going to kick off, look to New Zealand first. Once they've done it in New Zealand, expect it to come to the UK. So yeah, I just really concerned. I don't feel safe. So I don't know. Wherever I am in the world, I want to feel safe and secure and be able to do what I'm doing. So I would love to come to the UK now and work with a club in the UK and you know, use my level 3. Of course, now with the ECB goes, yeah. BRICS is going to end EU and NATO. Well, I've heard different stories. I've heard some guy was talking today. Sorry to go political. I heard today some guy said that NATO would get USA would end up leaving NATO, so NATO would collapse, and therefore power would go to Israel. You never know. You never know. But me, the man in the street. What can I say? Listen. I mean, I also saw something online, like to become a boxing manager. That's something else I'm considering looking into as well, because I definitely want to get into the world of boxing. I don't know if I want to get into the boxing. I don't know how I want to get into it, but I think management is something I'd be very interested in. Considering like now, you know, the elite level coaching I have now, and I like to have a coach like Gary Kirsten. To have a coach like Gary Kirsten, who won the World Cup with England. Took India to #1 in the world in Test cricket. Won the IPL. Gary Kirsten, that was my coach. So, you know, to get my level 3. So, yeah, obviously at some point very soon I want to be going, because the work you do here, most of the work I do here, people just turn a blind eye to it. They ignore it and they don't value it. So I definitely want to be moving out of this environment. Although I've got an academy now, I'd rather be in a position where I can be somewhere else in the world, funding and sponsoring an academy, and then still being able to go and work with a team that understands top quality coaching, structure, management, and are interested in seeing progression rather than tribalism, you know. And I'm not Nigerian, remember that. World Cup 2023 quality looks rubbish. It could be Leicester City win the league, South Africa to win World Cup, please. Do I follow rugby? I did follow rugby quite a bit when I had time. I watched the England team evolve from being a bunch of guys, part-time police officers, to them evolving with Will Carling. You know, back in the day, Will Carling, then Lawrence Delalio, you know, them, and then Martin Johnson. So that time where they went and won the World Cup, during that time, I was really big and heavy into rugby. Martin Offiah, John Olomu, who else? Johnny Wilkinson. Yeah, all that stuff. I kind of teed off on that and kind of left off on it, and I got refocused more in my football and my boxing. So yeah, and I obviously in Nigeria channel talking sports as well. I hate StreamYard, literally hate it. Because Trump wanted to pull out of NATO, but think Russia-Ukraine war made NATO more important. But with USA, NATO would be finished. New Zealand looking strong versus, okay. And the other thing is here that a lot of the stuff that is going on in the world, I have to get another, I just don't have, I really just don't have the time to watch everything. So now I'm doing this show now of you guys to catch up. I haven't done shows in a while. I've even thinking of starting maybe doing some interviews again. But yeah, I really now want to do call-ins because I miss contact, talking to people from England. So I really want to do this, make this show more interactive. So maybe I can get phone-ins or something you suggest where I can get people to come on and have a chat. I would really like to start doing that again. I miss it so much. I really do. But this boxing is really, this cricket has taken up my time. But yeah, I definitely want to make changes in 2024. Definitely. Because at times I look around and see people all around me. At times it almost looks like an illusion that people are moving on and they're progressing in their lives. And I kind of feel like I'm standing still, but I'm not, because like I have the opportunity here to build my own cricket club. And most of the people that I know around me could never even dream of having their own cricket club. They could dream of having an academy, but building your own cricket club, amazing. So there are stuff, and the stuff that I would never have been able to do in the UK. Never. Like meeting the ICC global development officer, the guy that runs cricket from around the world. I'd never have been able to get to see him if I was in England. I got to meet him in Nigeria twice in 2 years. One time I met him as they were promoting, they came to a press conference, and my young players were taking part in a competition, CCC League, which is the best league in West Africa. Our youth were taking part in it. And then obviously I saw him at the World Cup as well, the World Cup trophy tour. That would never have happened in England. I would have got blocked from that happening. Never happened. The president of cricket in Nigeria. You think I could go and stroll up to the ECB and talk to them? No, I'd be beneath them. So, and in terms of modernizing cricket, I'm just calling it as it is. There's a lot of racism in cricket, a lot of racism. Do you know the amount of mental health challenges a person of color has to go through when in this sport of cricket? Like, I'll just take you on my LinkedIn page. I swear to you, go on my LinkedIn page and you see all these people are doing well. You see all these people, oh, my club's doing well. Oh, we can get funding for this for you. We can do that for you. We'll get sponsorship for you here. We'll do sponsorship for you there. And you look at the type of people, middle, upper class, they're going to this academy. I've got this academy and I've got these players. And their players are no better than our players. No better. They may have more better facilities, but they're no better than the players that I have. None. I mean, when I was in England, level 4 coaches, I was beating the level 4 coaches with my players. Players that had established coaches that had come from all these private schools was winning trophies. And they hated me for it. So I don't, sometimes I wonder if I'm in the wrong sport. And I think to myself, I should give up this sport completely and go into the world of boxing. I really do. Sometimes I really feel like, I do feel it, because it's really, ECB, it's been a shamble for years. Imagine it took me 17 years to get my level 3, but yet I've contributed so much to the players I have in county cricket. Shambles is not the word. Shambles. And the people that are behind some of these investigations and the people that are fronting these things, they don't know the pain. But they look like the people that have inflicted the pain. They look like the people that have caused the pain. So how can you get people that think alike, that inflict pain? How the hell can you get them to be the ones to do the investigations and know what's right for a community? Come and ask me. I'll tell you what's right for community. Come and talk to me about. ECB is a shambles, only care about upper class private school education. Yeah, that's true. To have the first dibs on best players, not fair. Boxing much better, so corrupt on every level. Yeah, I get it. I hear it. I hear it. I hear it. You know, but with boxing, you've got two fists. And if you can punch, you can leave it out of the hands of the judges. You know? But I don't know, man. I don't know. I love sport, but like I'm literally building cricket from grassroots up. So like when I started in the community, there was nobody around. And all these people I think that were friends, like now, imagine, like I've got so many people in my WhatsApp group, WhatsApp page, and they'll see all the things I'm doing. Nothing. No funding, nothing. But these are the same people you're going to turn around and see talking about, we need to reduce crime. We need to look after our young people. It's tiring. It's honestly so tiring. So tiring. But, you know, I had the opportunity to come back to the UK last year. I had a contract signed with Cricket Wales. And that was for me to do diversity and being a diversity champion and coaching in different. And I turned that down to stay in Nigeria. I just wanted to give things, and I had the opportunity because the UK had come in and said they would sponsor and support my programs. And I stuck around. And for 8 months, they've stuck it out and they've helped us out. And we've had some great experiences from it. But I just wonder, like being in Wales, but then again, we're going back to the same old nonsense, you know. I don't know. I wouldn't say the word is disillusioned. I would say it's just transition. I think that maybe 2 months, 3 months from now, I'll probably be saying something different because I just think it's transition. I think I'm just seeing things as they are now, but I'm sure things will change. Things have got to change. They've got to change. They've got to change, you know. Yeah, anyway, gone completely off topic. It is sports, though. It is sports. So please, when you get a chance, go across to my YouTube channel now. It's called ECSM. So just try it out for you. That's the name of my company. Let me put that in. Let's see if I can pause that again. Okay, so it says here, what's changed? What's changed is that love doesn't exist anymore. That's something I like. All the lot of the young people that I work with or I coach. That's the fundamentals. The love. We'll get better. It's a generational thing. The younger generation will sort out. I hope so. I hope so. I truly hope that the young generation will sort it out. I'm just going to type this in. Too many old-fashioned guys at ECM, the CSM, at the ECB. Maybe so, but you can't. You know, you get rid of one. It's like a bad virus. You get rid of one, and now somebody else comes in. It's like, and they've got the same mindset. It's like they're just spawning. These like they're inbreds. They just keep spawning off all the time. Coaching, AZEEZ Coaching and Sports Management. That is the name of the company, my company, which I have here in Nigeria. It's been registered like since last year, February, and I was still working for the state, But I realized quickly at the state that they wasn't organized and I had to have my own business. So I've got that now. And that's what I'm doing. Because we're investing, and now we're investing money to travel. I think it's like 600,000 naira now we have to pay for us to go to travel back and forth. Remember, I'm not getting paid at the moment. So to travel the girls to go back and forth for them to get opportunity to play cricket. So that, to play cricket and get seen. So all the work I've been doing, these girls will finally get the opportunity. And then we want to host the event as well. I want to give a shout out to my man, Lev Gravenson. Must give him a shout out. He's one of the guys on YouTube that had been supporting me when I was going for some difficult moments here in Nigeria. And we did, in my first cricket camp I did here in Nigeria, he was one of the sponsors, and I got his name up with a band. And when I do my 3-day program release on video, I will post it out. Also, wanted to let you know as well, I have got my own book out now. Yes, cricket book, because I was kind of sick and tired of seeing books that didn't, with people that didn't look like myself. Because it gives you sort of like a feeling like you don't know what you're talking about, or they're better than you. So that, you know, you have to go to them for qualifications. You have to go to them. You must read what they say, because what they say, they're gods and you're just low life. So I said, you know, to cut that rubbish, I'm going to do my book. And I've done a book now for starters. And there's a videos on my channel where you can see the kids holding my book. I'm going to be making that book available worldwide on Amazon shortly. So yeah, I think make the book. I think the book's $3.99 for the book. So yeah, because would you want to teach cricket in other parts of Africa, Kenya, South Africa? Yes, Tanzania has just come. It's Tanzania, no, Rwanda. Rwanda just came. Rwanda just came to Nigeria. Nigeria beat them and sent them back. Nigeria just won the cup, the West Africa Cup. The thing is, it's different. Nigeria is different to England. So like when England play matches, all the youth are around and they celebrate. When we went to the World Cup to watch the trophy, the Nigerian players sat in one corner and the youth were in the stadium, in the stands, and the youth and the Nigerian players did not meet. And I think myself, what is this? When I was in England as a player, as a young boy looking, I said, my dad said, you'll never make the England side. Have you seen? And at the time, there was no black players at the time. So I was like, he says, and even the black players, they're from the Caribbean. Look at the way they treat them. So my dad was always pumping that message into my head. So I quickly diverted into becoming a coach. So yeah. And look at the England team today. Am I wrong? Look at the England team today. And look at their best. There was arguably their best bowler. What's his name? Archer. Look what they did to Archer. That overbowled that boy. Overbowled him. Oh, they'll never treat Jamie Anderson like that, or Stuart Broad like that, or Mark Wood like that, or Ollie Robinson like that. They wouldn't treat them guys like that. Look, but Archer, he came from Barbados. If Archer will still play, if Archer stayed in the West Indies, he'd still be playing cricket today. He'd still be bowling for the West Indies today. It is what it is. You got to call it for what it is, you know? So, a lot of things I see is just annoying. But anyway, I'll bring it to an end. Thank you all so much for watching. It was a bit longer than I expected, but at least you all get to know a little bit more about what I've been doing and the challenges that I face out here in Nigeria. God bless you all. Archer was a little fragile too and was inconsistent at key times. Well, I think when you have player management and there's player mismanagement, I understand player management, and now I've got my level 3, and now I understand player management and player mismanagement. And Archer was mismanaged. Trust me. All right, let me get out of here. It's been a pleasure as always. Hope you've enjoyed the show, and I'll see you soon.